Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our special podcast today, where we'll explore an ancient yet incredibly powerful philosophy that can immediately change your life: Stoicism. In a world full of volatility and uncertainty, many of us are searching for a life philosophy to navigate daily challenges. Stoicism, with its psychological techniques developed millennia ago, offers a clear path to achieving tranquility and happiness. In this episode, we'll delve into the 8 golden rules of Stoicism, principles not only practiced by great Roman philosophers like Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius, but also proven effective by modern science, especially cognitive behavioral therapy, also known as CBT, and acceptance and commitment therapy, ACT. Join me as we discover how these timeless lessons can help you face challenges, develop resilience, and find joy in your own life.
Differentiating what's in your control from what isn't. This is a core principle, often referred to as the Stoic fork. Epictetus, a great former slave and one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, asserted, "People are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them." This means that most of our suffering comes from trying to control things that are beyond our power, such as our possessions, reputation, or even our health. As the philosopher William B. Irvine explains in his book, A Guide to the Good Life, Epictetus advised us to focus our energy on what depends on us: our opinions, impulses, desires, and aversions. These things are completely within our control. Conversely, things like the weather, the actions of others, or unexpected life events are entirely out of our control. Scientific benefits. This concept is the foundation of cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, as explicitly acknowledged by its founders Albert Ellis and Aaron Beck. Changing our perceptions and beliefs about external events helps us achieve tranquility. A study on the coping mechanisms of emergency workers after a traumatic event also showed that the most effective coping strategies involved directly understanding and appraising the event rather than avoiding it, and seeking cognitive control over the event and its meaning. By doing this, you become invincible because you refuse to engage in contests you cannot win.
2. The practice of negative visualization. This rule isn't about being pessimistic. It's a powerful tool to combat hedonic adaptation, the phenomenon where we get used to the good things in our lives and start to take them for granted. As Seneca advised, set death and exile before your eyes every day. This isn't meant to scare you, but rather to make you appreciate what you have even more. William B. Irvine describes this exercise in detail. Imagine the worst-case scenarios, or that good things you have never came to be. For example, imagine losing all your possessions, never having met your spouse, losing a family member, or losing a sense like sight or hearing. Epictetus even advised that when you kiss your children, you should quietly remind yourself that they are mortal and not something you possess forever. This helps you become more loving and attentive to your children instead of taking their presence for granted. Scientific benefits. Negative visualization is considered a form of imaginal exposure or stress inoculation in modern therapies like CBT and REBT. It helps us mentally prepare for potential difficulties, which in turn reduces our fear and anxiety when they actually happen. A father who practices negative visualization realizes he is lucky to have his child, and because he can't be certain of his child's continued presence in his life, he should be prepared for the possibility of loss.
3. Philosophical journaling. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman philosopher-emperor, kept a personal journal that we now know as Meditations. The book wasn't intended for publication, but was instead a private record of his thoughts, resolutions, and advice to himself. This practice allowed him to self-reflect, monitor his own progress, and apply Stoic principles to his daily life. Epictetus even suggested that one of the most important signs of progress in Stoicism is a change in our emotional lives. We will experience fewer negative emotions and spend more time enjoying things as they are, even experiencing unexpected bursts of joy. Scientific benefits. Journaling has been integrated into modern therapies like CBT, REBT, and DBT, or dialectical behavior therapy, in the form of thought records or self-monitoring. One study has even shown that Marcus Aurelius's Meditations can be seen as an early example of modern therapeutic journaling. This practice helps to enhance self-awareness, self-reflection, and emotional management.
4. The view from above. This exercise is designed to remind you of your own smallness and the relative importance of most things. The goal is to give you a broader perspective on the big picture. You use your imagination to relate yourself to the entire world and beyond. You can start from above the clouds, then slowly get closer to the world and the people in it. Or, as suggested, you can start from a place very, very far away in the universe. Observe everything that is happening. First kisses, wars, discoveries, learning, artistic creation, traffic jams, and whatever you can imagine. The key is to observe, but not to judge. Then, think about yourself in relation to all of this. Understand that many things you consider important are only of relative significance, and know that you too are only of relative importance. Marcus Aurelius also used this technique to put annoying incidents into a cosmic context, making them trivial and therefore less upsetting. Scientific benefits. This exercise is similar to the decentering technique in CBT, ACT, and other mindfulness-based therapies. It helps you create psychological distance from your emotions and problems, viewing them from a more objective perspective. This helps to minimize anxiety and enhance mental resilience. 5. Training physical self-control. Stoicism isn't just about mental exercises. It also includes physical training. This practice involves intentionally experiencing physical hardship and giving up things you love. It can be seen as a practical version of negative visualization. The dual purpose of training physical self-control is to prepare ourselves in case we ever have to face physical hardship or lose some or all of what we have, and to train ourselves not to desire things that are outside of our control. For example, you could alter a daily habit to make your life less comfortable or convenient for a week, such as walking outside in the cold without a jacket. The philosopher William B. Irvine also mentions his own voluntary discomfort program. Monsunius Rufus, another Stoic philosopher, also emphasized the importance of living an ascetic lifestyle. Scientific benefits. Self-control has been likened to a moral muscle that can be strengthened through practice. Studies on delayed gratification, such as the famous marshmallow experiment, show that the ability to postpone immediate rewards in favor of a later reward is linked to many other positive outcomes, including academic success, physical health, psychological well-being, and social competence. This reinforces the importance of regular practice, which both Stoic techniques and modern CBT-based interventions emphasize.
6. Cognitive reframing. Going back to Epictetus's core idea that we are disturbed by our perceptions of things, not by the things themselves, leads to a powerful technique, cognitive reframing. Instead of letting a negative event cause distress, we can change the way we view it. Epictetus suggested that when a servant breaks a cup, we usually get angry. But if the same thing happened in someone else's home, we might calmly say, "It's just a cup. These things happen." This projective visualization technique helps us properly assess the insignificance of the bad things that happen to us. In modern Stoicism, Liam Gurin of the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health has highlighted Irvine's 3 reframing techniques for developing a Stoic mindset. Telling a story. Imagine your future self telling the story of how you endured the current situation. This creates distance between you and the stress. The good response. As former Navy SEAL Jocko Willink does, he responds good to every setback he encounters. This helps him find opportunities and positive aspects in adversity. Using humor. Lighten your perspective on difficult situations by using humor. Scientific benefits. Reappraisal is a well-researched emotional regulation strategy in psychology that directly corresponds to cognitive change in James Gross's process model of emotion regulation. It helps to change the meaning of an event, which reduces its emotional impact. These findings align with controlling thoughts and reactions, helping us maintain tranquility and even experience joy despite hardships.
7. Fulfilling social duties and focusing on virtue. Stoicism isn't a self-centered philosophy. It has a profound social dimension. Marcus Aurelius said that we human beings were made for one another, born to work together like a pair of hands or eyelids. Our goal must be to serve and be in harmony with all. This means doing good for our fellow human beings and putting up with them. Massimo Pigliucci, a leading philosopher and scholar of modern Stoicism, emphasizes that if there is one thing that defines the core of Stoicism, it is the primacy of virtue over external factors. Happiness, eudaimonia, according to the Stoics, means a life of the highest possible moral integrity. This requires us to live in accordance with nature, which means acting in a rational and social way. The exploitation of people or the planet is unacceptable to the Stoic. Scientific benefits. This perspective is similar to the emphasis on core values and the commitment to acting consistently with those values in ACT therapy. It encourages the development of compassion and empathy. Serving others and living a virtuous life provides a sense of meaning and purpose, which contributes to long-term psychological well-being. A study on Malaysian philosophy lecturers showed that connecting philosophy to real life through universal principles, such as compassion, helped students with their personal development and self-awareness. 8. The practice of mindfulness. Prosorge is the ancient Greek term for continuous attention to our judgments in the present moment. This is similar to the concept of mindfulness in modern psychology. Mindfulness is a key component of the third wave of modern psychotherapy. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that those who don't pay attention to their own thoughts cannot have a fulfilling life. He who does not observe what is in the mind of another will rarely be unhappy. But he who does not observe the movements of his own mind is necessarily unhappy. The practice of attention helps us clearly distinguish between our will, prohairesis, our voluntary perceptions, and involuntary impressions, phantasiae, our automatic thoughts. This allows us to master our voluntary perceptions and adopt a more indifferent attitude toward automatic thoughts, which are often the main source of suffering. Techniques like cognitive distancing or cognitive diffusion in CBT and ACT are also based on this principle, helping us to step back and observe thoughts as fleeting mental events rather than identifying with them. Scientific benefits. There is an interesting temporal parallel between the renewed interest in Stoicism and the development of mindfulness-based strategies in clinical practice. Studies show that mindfulness can improve neuropsychiatric symptoms in various neurological disorders, including Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis, epilepsy, sleep disorders, headaches, and chronic pain. This practice enhances self-control and tranquility in daily life.
Conclusion. As you've seen, Stoicism is not just a dry philosophy from the past. It's a living, practical toolkit, tested by time and validated by modern science for its effectiveness in boosting our mental well-being and resilience. From understanding what we can control to appreciating what we have, from documenting our inner journey to putting ourselves in the broader context of the universe, and from training ourselves to face hardship, to changing our perspective on things, and finally, to fulfilling our duties with mindfulness, these aren't just empty words. They are practices, mental exercises that can be integrated into your daily life to build a solid inner core, a peaceful spirit, and a meaningful life. Whether you're facing academic pressures as a student at the Nanyang Institute of Management, or NIM, work-related stress, or simply want to live a more purposeful life, Stoicism offers a path. It doesn't promise to eliminate all difficulties. It teaches us how to react to them wisely. Life is constantly changing, and we won't live forever. But what we can do is control how we respond to those changes and live with purpose. Try applying one or more of these rules to your life. Start with the smallest things and observe the change. You'll be surprised by the resilience and joy you can find in Stoicism. Thank you for listening. Remember, philosophy is long, life is short. Philosophia longa, vita brevis.